All right, welcome now on this fifth reading through First and Second Samuel. First and Second Kings. Now, today is chapters 9 and 10 of First Kings, and it's been some interesting reading, perhaps some repetitious reading, and maybe more challenging to synthesize. And some portions have been more engaging, other portions have been less engaging. It's like reading a catalog of a lot of data that would be mostly meaningless to us. However, as we recap very briefly the previous reading, the Ark of the Covenant was moved into the temple. It was a big day. This was monumental day. This is why all of this stuff is recorded, because all of these details of history really mattered to the first audience. And there was Solomon's prayer, and very in-depth and very rich theological language in his prayer. And then we go now into chapter number 9. The temple is going to be completed, and then there's other construction projects that Solomon's had going on. There's a lot of building, a lot of prosperity going on, a lot of infrastructure that's being built up. And David was fighting during his kingship, even before his own demise began. He was having to fight the Philistines and win a lot of wars. Saul was having to do a bit of fighting as well. Solomon's able to build. But here comes, in all of this building, here comes the voice of God. It's a refrain that we've heard more than once now into First Kings. Basically, if you do right, my promises to David are going to be fulfilled. There's always going to be one of his, a king over Israel. But, verse 6, if your sons ever turn away and fail to obey, then I'm going to remove the land. I'm going to abandon this temple. And the temple's even going to be left in a heap of ruins. So think about this. Through 1st and 2nd Samuel, and then even in the initial part of First Kings here, what do we see? There's a big deal about sons. Many of the sons went a different way than the father. And here, if Solomon or his sons turn away, it's going to be bad. This building, this temple, that so much of the infrastructure has been poured into, so many impressive qualities. God said the building doesn't mean anything to God, particularly. He'll abandon the building, the temple. He will let it go to a heap of ruins. If he removes his protection, there's plenty of other powers that would like to come in and fight. And so there's a refrain here that this is serious language. It's as if it's in here. Let's not get too happy, get too caught up in all of this prosperity and all of this economic excitement, because we have to remember the covenant. And then here is Hiram, the king, someone who had helped Solomon in the building of the temple, and in return Solomon had given him several cities. However, Hiram is unhappy with the cities that he's received, and wondering why all this has happened. And it's just kind of an obscure little thing there. Before then, in chapter 9, the details of this work party continues, about the different ones who worked through to build up Jerusalem here. And then finally, 3 times a year, Solomon would offer offerings at the temple, making it his official worship place. We see here, Solomon ended up with 420 talents of gold here, it says, at the conclusion of this chapter. We see earlier on in this chapter that Hiram had sent him 120 talents of gold. Solomon is definitely accumulating wealth. And the next person who comes to see him that we read will be the Queen of Sheba. Man, she's interested, hearing about his wisdom and all these great things that he is doing. She comes and brings spices and camels and gems, and among other things is bringing gold there. She's going to walk away. She's going to be very impressed with him. She's going to give him 120 talents of gold. I mean, Solomon is cleaning up. I mean, he's putting the money to work in Jerusalem. But my goodness, he is also collecting the money as well. And here it talks about his wealth in the next section, beginning in verse 14 of chapter number 9. That's becoming his identity. And interestingly, here in verse 14, he received 666 talents of gold per year. Now that number 666 will strike us all, will it not? From the book of Revelation, referring to the beast, the number of the man is 666. And of course, through so long, everybody's tried to figure out what that 666 is. There's one other place in the Bible where it says 666, and it's right here. And it leaves me to wonder if everything in the book of Revelation is built upon the infrastructure of the Old Testament. The prophecies of Zechariah and of Daniel is built on part of Genesis. I mean, so much of the Old Testament is incorporated into the book of Revelation. And I have to wonder if there's something here with Solomon and the 666 that plays a role in that identity of the beast. Now's not the time to even get into all of that. But what we see here with his, with this section is Solomon's identity is definitely his wealth. Look at him. He's got 1,400 chariots and 12,000 horses. Look at here. Year after year, visitors brought him gifts, including silver and gold and clothes, perfume, spices, horses, and mules. They paid him 600 silver pieces for each chariot. They paid 600 pieces of silver for each chariot and 150 pieces for each horse. It's a lot of money going on here. We're singing the same song. There's a lot of money that's happening, and Solomon is getting wealthy. They've got all these horses and chariots. They're well fortified. What can possibly go wrong? At this point, Solomon's identity has been very prosperous and successful. In fact, it's been hard, given all the repetitions here in these first 10 chapters. It's a little difficult to give a synthesis to anything. The Davidic promise, the promise to David, has been a clear echo that God will establish this throne forever, and we in the Christian paradigm realize that points forward to Christ. We see the prominence of the temple here, that has been echoed throughout this book, which has many implications for us, and as the temple comes into play throughout the New Testament, although it's a rebuilt temple. But Monday we will start the second half of 1 Kings. We'll go into chapter 11, which is the end of the first half, and then chapter 12 will be the beginning of the second half. And we're going to start to see another side to everything. And so if you've been feeling spoiled by all of the positives from this early book, you'll receive the contrarian experience beginning next week. So with that, thank you for participating with me. I realize this book is a bit different in reading. However, I thought that it would be good as a continuation of 1st and 2nd Samuel, and At this point, we're a fourth of our way reading through 1st and 2nd Kings, and so we can take a little breather over the weekend and see what happens next week. Take care.